Hello again, traders, and welcome back to the Hot Stocks Outlook for May 24th, 2024. I hope you all are having an excellent week out there in the financial markets. As always, we've got plenty to cover here in this week's Hot Stocks Outlook. So if you haven't already, make sure you go ahead and click on that link in the description below. You can sign yourself up for a live demonstration and learn all the specifics about how these predictive tools and technologies can help you make much better trading decisions out there in the marketplace. Now, as we typically do, we like to take a look at the SPY ETF to get a sense of where has that broader equity market been. And so the things that really stand out here is we can see year to date now we're up a little over 11%, but we've actually seen certain markets get a little toppy here. And so this is where the short-term predictive forecasts from VantagePoint are really helpful to help traders hedge, get in front of some of these big trend shifts, and take advantage of some of these really nice opportunities in the equity space. And so we can see now going back 12 months, we're up almost 30%. And so that means there has been ample opportunities spread out throughout the marketplace. And so let's take a look at one of those opportunities here in shares of NVIDIA. And so we got a lot of attention here around earnings, but I think it's a good opportunity to take a look and say, okay, well, how have the past several weeks been as far as the VantagePoint predictive forecasts via these indicators that we look at every week? And so what we have with NVIDIA here is daily price action. So each one of those candles that you see represents a full and complete trading day. And it's right up against that price data that the first thing you'll notice there is a black line and a blue line value. Now, the black line that you're seeing there, that is actually a simple moving average. This is actually a very common technical analysis indicator. In this case, it's a 10 period. So it looks back over the past 10 closes. It'll add those all together and divide by 10. And really the weakness with technical analysis tools like this is that all the data to generate that value come from the past, right? So it's really just summarizing what's already occurred. And the other primary weakness is that it's only looking at what's happened in shares of NVIDIA, as though NVIDIA trades in a complete vacuum. And so what we understand is that there are important market relationships that are known to drive and affect the future prices of NVIDIA shares. And this can be things like ETF groups within the semiconductor or technology space. This can be other individual stocks like these big AI stocks like Microsoft, AMD. This can be things like the value of the dollar index or global interest rates, as well as things like crude oil or gold or commodity prices. And so it takes this global approach to understand specifically what are the drivers affecting future prices in NVIDIA, and then it summarizes that with the help of these predictive indicators. So it's taking this global approach, looking at all these intermarket relationships, and that's essentially the data sets that are being plugged into these neural networks to solve some of these difficult trading problems. So whenever we see this blue line cross above the black line, what's suggesting average prices are starting to move higher. And this is where when we can get a jump on prices and get involved in trends early, what can make all the difference here. So whenever that blue line crosses above the black line, what's suggesting average prices are going to start moving higher, and you might want to start executing those bullish strategies. And so we see here in the past 20 days, we've gotten a 22, almost 23% advance in shares of NVIDIA. But that's not it here, right? So yeah, there's been a nice move over 20 days, but how are things changing day to day for the trader and affecting their analysis? And so what we can see here is if we look at the very bottom of the chart, you'll see this bar that goes from green to red, back to green. This is another indicator, but it's tuned to solve a different problem for the trader. And it's really just looking 2 trading days ahead for short-term strength or weakness in the market, but still using that neural network approach of looking at those intermarket relationships to solve this very difficult problem. And so this indicator has an extremely high level of accuracy, upwards of 86, 87% across a very wide number of markets, in forecasting whether you'll get that short-term strength or weakness over the subsequent 48-hour period. And so as we look again at these subsequent trading charts, what you'll see is that when that neural index goes bearish, you sometimes get these dips where you move below that VantagePoint predicted moving average. You see, again, it happens here, but this is where this is really helpful is not only do you have that information of when to really look to buy on the dip scenario, but you're also provided a predicted high and a predicted low. So essentially intraday price levels that traders can use to accumulate a position and make some trading decisions. And so you see here that as the market starts to move higher, well, we have these previous predicted lows that weren't here, and we get this dip after our neural index gets bearish. Well, that's the day you want to get involved because we very quickly accelerate. And you see that as all that volatility comes through and shares waddle around, look again how the market closes at that predicted high and then reprojects and say, okay, expect the market to move down to these predicted lows. This is where there's places of value intraday to scoop up shares. And of course, we get that move after earnings that really seals the deal here as far as seeing a really nice advance in the stock. But this is how we combine this predictive suite of indicators to, one, identify that trend shift, but also exploit that opportunity and really minimize the risk to be around for this really nice opportunity. You see again, about a 500 share position is about a $100,000 move. So really nice opportunities opening up recently here all throughout the equity space. Here's another opportunity here in WNS. And again, just a good example of some of these things where we see this predicted moving average really gets a very quick crossover. And we've seen a really aggressive advance in the share price here. So this is an example here. We can see since that crossover has come through, you've got about a 12, almost 13% rally over the past 14 trading days. But in this instance, we can zoom in a little closer on things like those VantagePoint predicted highs and lows. And so you see how this works as the market starts to advance. You've got a lot of distance between that predicted moving average and the actual moving average. And then you can identify intraday levels to go ahead and accumulate a position. You see over the past couple of days, moving down to the lower part of this range and the overall trend to the upside here. So potentially a nice opportunity here in WNS. Last week we looked at TSM, right? So these semiconductor stocks are getting on the radar, tech as a whole. Well, here you see that blue line crossing above the black line. Again, similar price action with that neural index getting bearish and seeing some subsequent sideways price action. But let's look how accurate, again, these predicted highs and lows are. So when you understand that, look, something's going on in tech stocks and semiconductors, we've got these predicted moving averages on TSM, on NVIDIA on the bullish side, and intraday, remember, you're provided these predicted high and low levels before the trading day even occurs, like you see in this instance, right? It's a shadow candle. The actual trading day will fill in when we actually get, the real trading market data here, and we'll see how accurate all of those previous predictions are. But what we can see is that, okay, well, over the past few weeks here now, as far as stocks, where has it been saying, well, I want to accumulate a position in this individual stock and benefit as things appreciate here. So very similar move. Again, we're seeing a lot of the semiconductors have a very similar move because, again, they share those intermarket relationships. So in the same way that, we can get clues on where NVIDIA is heading by price action in TSM, well, it goes back and forth, right? They really divulge some of this useful price information that the neural networks can pick up on. Here's Texas Roadhouse. So one of the few restaurant stocks where we've seen the blue line over the black line, neural index very bullish here, but this is what I mean by this recent weakness that we're starting to see. So there were some reasons why it looked like, okay, well, up towards, the predicted highs on Monday and Tuesday, we might see some weakness here. You actually see this blue line getting very close to the black line, neural index very bearish here for the week. And of course, highlighting that at least in the very short term, you can look for cheaper prices here in Texas Roadhouse. Of course, we can look at those predicted highs and lows, and you see a lot of noise around these earnings. But again, very clearly, you want to be a buyer taking profits on long positions. And I actually want to go ahead and point this out. There's a lot of noise around earnings here, but you see this a lot where this is a Thursday, that's a Friday, volatility coming into the beginning of the week, and then the overall trend playing out. We see that a lot where, it looks like this level isn't hit because all the price action is gaps up and bullish, but it's just frothy price action, and these levels become relevant, and they're important to have, again, on your radar and understand that they're there. And so, again, we see some of this weakness coming in the market, again, moving down towards these predicted lows. So really nice opportunity here in shares of Texas Roadhouse. We see overall, again, this, very similar move, but identifying where are those markets where we're seeing, hey, strong uptrend, strong neural index, that's where you want to be involved. And you see about a 12% pop in the stock. This was really interesting, and I wanted to bring this in because we actually had a little bit of short-term strength in energies. And here what we could see is that actually this looks very, very weak here, right? So you actually see Hess, blue line crossing below the black line, neural index bearish. And so even going into the week, you can identify that, okay, well, we're actually moving up towards these predicted highs and failing. So you've seen that the previous few days here, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, seeing energies go lower, in this case, Hess stock go lower. And again, a very interesting clue that, this actually may be why you're seeing bullishness broadly across stocks, but some things, turning lower is just, we're seeing risk off or, risk on in a way, like gold's easing, commodities are easing, and certain stocks are going to do real well there. So about a 5% decline here just in the past 6 trading days. So clearly, semiconductor is a place to be. Energy on the stock side, a lot more dangerous here. And here's Amazon. So again, a really popular stock. We've seen a lot of the broader market do well here, but Amazon's got something going on here. I mean, we've had 2 weeks here now where the neural index has been bearish every single day. Our predicted moving average is bearish. And of course, for those really short-term traders, maybe looking to trade options, Here you have these levels. So, I mean, when you're trading options and things like this, if you can go ahead and, potentially buy those put options when you're up at these predicted highs, great way to hedge the portfolio and make money, on a potentially directional bet as we see the accuracy of these VantagePoint predictive indicators. So again, a little decline here in Amazon, shares off about 3%, but just very clearly not a place you want to be when we look at some of these other opportunities opening up throughout the equity space. So I'll go ahead and leave it there. Once again, this has been our hot stocks outlook for May 24th, 2024. Thank you all for watching. Best of luck and bye for now.